All right, so we are going to get to the bottom of this shit. All right, so ongoing conversation about, I don't know, we'll call it the State of the Union, but the state of Western civilization with my English connection. It's like a cool-ass spy movie. Like the English Connection. My one friend does a lot of work overseas, and it's always fun when we talk about the English counterparts. It's a tricky thing. I do dig really quick, Sned. I dig that you don't want to share what you do for a living. I dig that you don't want to share your name. I dig that you're extremely cautious with your environment. That's really cool. It adds to the mystery, and it builds, for me, it builds my perceived authority that you're bringing into the conversation. You make extremely good logical sense. You share observations that I too share, giving a different angle, refining the point of it. And let's talk this lost, seeming to be lost workers generation. And coming at it from two different angles. You mentioned 8 million requiring medicine to intervene with the emotional state that they find themselves in. So, in review, for those listening that haven't seen Sneds, check them out. Should be a hot link in the title. And I'll put a link to the video in the description, hopefully. But I'm pretty lazy and I'm kind of busy today. The idea is giving a person a task at work, or a person has to perform a task, but you're only getting the bare minimum. They're not like putting the pieces together for themselves to actually see the end result goal. And the question is, why? Is it a education issue? Is it a society issue? Just what's going on with these damn kids today. Now, Sned also points out an individual worker getting to be 58, 59, 60 years old in a very similar situation. Essentially, what we call just mailing it in. You're not actually there. You're performing the bare minimum of tasks, like, oh, so you want me to do this? Well, how much are you gonna pay me for that? Well, I'm paying you for that is the point of you even being here in the first place. Okay, now, my situation, say I'm in a management role, the two groups that I have working for me are actually comprised of those individuals. I have this particular generation in their mid to near late 20s, and then I have these other individuals in their late 50s with nothing in between. Literally the same reaction. When I speak with my friends about this, friend, I got one friend. He puts a fine point in my generation. My group has seen both sides, meaning we've seen pre-high communication technology and post-high communication technology, like a 50-50 split. We were there formatively, and we've seen the mountain and understand what's below the mountain from a top down and then from an underneath perspective. There's actually a poem about it that I was exposed to as a youngster when I was into backpacking and getting super duper outdoorsy in my late teens. And it had to do with only the person who has been to the top of the mountain knows, because they have seen not only what is under the mountain, but also what is above, like a top-down view. And I think so it is with the particular, and if I can just put a name to them, let's call them Generation X. And I'll tell you, so the business that I work for, literally me as the manager and my boss as the owner, we're in automotive, but literally both of us have worked as mechanics, and we've worked as parts specialists, parts managers, and then had gone on to manage shops. So each aspect of the business, each aspect of the role, we have been exposed to. We've been there connecting the dots all along the way. Maybe not necessarily seeing the end goal, but enough to know that each step that we took, it wasn't, okay, well, this is my life. I'm just going to go there. I'm going to spin the clock. Somebody's going to give me a piece of paper at the end of the day that I can use in exchange for a loaf of bread and a couple of steaks on the grill. I never saw it that way. And speaking with my owner, he never saw it that way. Now, the generation ahead of us, some of them in the automotive industry, they came to being owners, they came to being managers, having never been in that experiential point. They either came from college or came from means. Some of them spent a very short time doing the mechanic thing, but they would quickly be bumped up. And it created a different type of personality in the management role, in the owner role, making them a little more detached from the nuts and bolts of the situation. Because I can tell you, and I don't have the answer for this, but it is a problem. So myself and my boss, we have the goal of the end result of we need to present this product to our clients in a way that they will be happily giving us money back for those parts and services, accepting the markup for parts in this internet world where they can check and say, hey, you need this piece for your car. And they're like, well, why does it cost this? And we say, well, because of this, that, and the other thing. And they look it up and they say, well, when I look it up on my Amazon, I can get this same part for 50% of that price. And then we will offer, well, we don't install your supplied parts. And if you want this part installed, then this is what's going to happen. However, to do that, I need to structure and present a value to the customer as to why. And the alternative would be, because you can get that part all you want, you could put it on yourself, but you wouldn't have known that you needed that part without me. And when you do install that part, maybe you won't do it correctly, or it requires additional configuration. And I'm not going to configure it and program it after the fact if you put it on yourself. And I have to form these explanations in a way that the client now sees value. Okay, so we've got that down. Meanwhile, I give a vehicle to one of my guys, and I use the term guys interchangeably. I may have females working for me. I don't give a shit. If you're green, white, black, blue, polka dot, got a penis, got a vagina, I don't give a fuck. Just, I need you to do a good job. And, so, example the other day, we had checked out a vehicle, and my dude tells me, hey, how much are you going to give me to tell you where this thing's leaking oil from? And I had to actually stop what I was doing, which again, understand my role of needing to explain to customers how I'm got to present this value. And I had to explain, hey, listen, I'm already giving you X amount of dollars to check out the other piece that's gone wrong with this car. We've explained to you when we hired you what your job is. And if you don't tell me what's leaking, then you're not going to get any of that job. And then none of us will make money because there's no value there. Like, I had to reintroduce him to the concept of, if I can't get value for what you do, I'm not going to give you value for what you do. I'm not your customer. You know, it's this idea that you as a worker are doing something valuable. You're not. Is it possible that you may assist me in putting together a package that will create value that we can get from someone else? Okay, yeah. But there needs to be respect for where we're bridging that gap. And in my line of work, there's a more immediate and direct connection to our value, because our more skilled persons are not paid by the hour. You are paid by your return value on the job. Essentially, it's like pirate ship rules. You're going to get 10% of the booty. You know what I mean? And if we don't present and get a certain percentage, then ain't none of us getting anything. Now, should there be a baseline value? Does everyone deserve a living wage just for showing up? It detracts too far from the value. And I think we're left with this incomplete notion of what's fucking valuable. You standing there and telling me, well, I'm not going to do this unless you pay me. Well, it's not going to get done then. And none of us are going to get value. And I don't need you there. Some watching this may not like that standpoint, but listen, where's the end goal? Where's the end value coming from? If you say, I don't care, that's none of my business, okay, so be it. And then go work for somebody that will tell you that it doesn't matter. But let me say something, it does matter, and you will find out quickly the results of that. I have hourly people that we do work with, the vendors, and they will be miserable over the course of the day, and I find myself having to be a little bit of a cheerleader, a little bit of a bullshit artist, because their particular manager, and you know what, some of these vendors should freaking pay me. I fluff them up. That's a porn industry job, by the way. I fluff them up. Oh my God, Sned, are you in porn? That'd be so cool. Anyway, I fluff them up and send them on their way because, believe it or not, even though they don't work directly for me, they work indirectly for me, and I need your people to do a good job for me too. And if you're making a damn sandwich for my lunch, I need the person making my sandwich for lunch to do a good job for me. And so it is on down the line. what's the answer? The answer is partially what Shafe said, and hopefully you've caught this from Shafe. We need to be able to hang on until this reallocation of assets occurs. What's going to come on is, on my end, I will continue to do my best, hopefully. I've found that I needed to restructure the support systems around myself because I became weary and overworked personally to the point to where I was no longer able to function without even realizing it. I put people around myself that like are able to say, hey Captain, you're getting bogged down here. You're getting down in the weeds. You're getting emotional. What's up? And I need to be able to open my ears to that to know, okay, I've just had a 30% decrease in what I can do. You need to step back. You need to get out of the weeds, because essentially the finality of this is people are stuck down in the weeds. And when you're down in the weeds doing a job and you don't have sight of the end goal, it can be a nightmare. It takes a very certain character to produce that individual. Why did that happen? It happened because of the education system. And it's something that's been long said. We have been training our people in the West to be factory workers. So the end result of being a factory worker, and what is that? Well, a factory, you need to show up at a certain time. You need to be able to pull this lever this many times in this much of an hour. All that structure is around to create a good factory worker. Well, COVID, we crossed a barrier. Working remotely, communication and technological skills, it's not nearly as factory, and we've lost the end result. We've lost the plot, as you would say, on your end of the pond. And, well, what are you going to pay me to screw the toothpaste top on, and you expect me to do 10 toothpaste, screw down 10 toothpaste caps every 15 minutes as the things of toothpaste go along the thing. I will pay you X amount of dollars per hour to get this many toothpaste caps on there. Well, we ain't putting toothpaste caps on anymore. So it is a matter of education. It's a matter of management and leadership now to re-educate, which is tough because we've got these formative years. And if that doesn't work, then we need to have the courage to allow for a reallocation of assets to where something builds that does work. And we need to not lose sight of what ultimate value is. And we need to not be delusional. And unfortunately, part of this hard education is to tell these people that all their lives to this point that they've been special, that you ain't special. But your mama does love you. Catch y'all later.